What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast, which is brought to you by the one and only Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. You guys, go check them out, simpsonmotorcyclehelmets.com. You can see all the models, finishes, and visor options, and get yourself dialed in with one of the best helmets on the market. The helmet I wear every day, Ghost Bandit. I got one of every one they make. I love them, and you will too if you just give them a chance, please. You can also check them out at the Mama Tried Motorcycle Show. I think it's this weekend, March 13th through the 15th. Go say hi to Scott. He's been on the podcast twice. Really good friend of mine, great dude. Been in the motorcycle industry for years. Go check him out, say hi, shake his hand, give him a high five. I also want to thank BoostedBrad.com, which is the spot to find some kick-ass products for your motorcycle. Brad has a product for any budget, from pegs to risers to everything in between. Check out all the products and get yourself dialed in with some dope-ass apparel while you're there at BoostedBrad.com. And use Fast Life at checkout to save yourself 5% off. And don't forget to give Brad a follow on Instagram at BoostedBrad. I also want to thank my good friend John Jessup for his 1-year sponsorship of supporting this podcast. I really appreciate it, sir. You're a great dude and a great dude in the industry for us all to be growing up with. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. But you guys need to check out Dream Rides, which is a spot if you're looking to have anything done to your Harley Davidson. His shop in Stockton, California is the spot for in-house dyno tuning, parts, service, and bike sales. And if nothing else, head on over to teamdreamrides.com, which is offering 100 days same as cash financing on all products. All you need is a job and a bank account. And don't forget to give John and the team a follow at Dream Rides John on Instagram. My other great friends over there at Lex and Moto, they're growing fast and looking to onboard new dealers in 2020. So whether you're a small independent shop or a 20,000 square foot megastore, Lex and Moto has a partnership that will work for your business. With awesome new gear and more on the way, Lexan offers very competitive dealer margins, fast shipping, and great customer service. Email them at sales@lexanmotorcycle.com, and be sure to check them out on Facebook at Lex and Moto USA and on Instagram at Lex and Moto. And don't forget to use offer code FASTLIFE at checkout to save yourself 15% off your entire order. Want to thank my guys over there at Paint Huffer Metal Flake, which is killing the paint game with tons of great flakes, pearls, and other paint-related products. Check out painthuffer.com to see the vast amount of color options and get yourself stocked up with some tape and other items needed in the custom paint process. And don't forget to use FastLife13 at checkout for 10% off, as well as give them a follow on Instagram under Paint Huffer Metal Flake. And last but not least, if you're in the Phoenix area this weekend, head on over to Paint Huffer to catch the live art show from 2 to 10 p.m. Lowriders, motorcycles, artists, it's going to be a great time. Go check it out. If you're in Daytona right now, go by Destination Daytona and meet the guys over at ThunderMax and let Jake or any of the other rad dudes there show you all the product they have to make your Harley Davidson perform and ride amazingly, as well as you can check out their electric fans for the M8 motors, the Touring the Touring M8 motors. To check out their ECM applications and many other products to give your Harley Davidson some new life, head on over to shoptmax.com and follow ThunderMax EFI on Instagram. And last but not least, tripping this morning. I also want to thank the guys over at Big Bear Performance for supporting this podcast over this past year. Having front and rear Olin suspension dialed in by Kevin himself has made my trips and my riding an enjoyable one, to be honest with you. No, Olin suspension is the shit, and Big Bear is the industry leader in Olin suspension sales, service, and tuning. Check out BigBearPerformance.com, and you can always give Kevin a call and get the info and answers for your motorcycle's upgrades at 909-479-7788. And last but not least, again, you guys, you've been hearing about the camp out. We've been pushing it down your throat. It's Thursday, April 23rd through the 26th at K River Campground in Moyers, Oklahoma. This podcast, this one right now, the one you're about to hear, is with the one and only Adam Sandoval, who is, if you don't know about this dude, you go check out all his social media platforms from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. This dude just decided to go out on a 4-year journey across America to basically ride to every Harley Davidson dealership. And he's way more known than I am, or that's kind of arrogant of me to say, but he's very known dude. He's been out there, he's been doing badass shit for years. He's done so much for like supporting veterans and groups like that. He has created this biker campground, which is where we have our camp out at in Moyers, Oklahoma, called the K River Resort, I believe. And it's very, very biker-centric. It's very dialed in for us guys to come in on 2 wheels, have a good time, not get hassled, not get told what to do, just out there doing it and living, you know. And have him on the podcast today. He's a pretty rad dude. And this podcast we recorded on Monday, he also did like a little YouTube video, I guess, on the shop. So if you want to go check out me very weirdly in front of a camera, you can go check it out on his YouTube channel. Yeah, it's a good time, man. He's a great dude. He's a very inspiring guy, and had a good time having him on. And yeah, let's get into it. Here we are, Adam Sandoval.
Hey guys, you ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
But what about outside?
You look on the side of that toolbox. There's an internet password.
I just want to share, or go to his page and share this live feed.
Or yeah, either way. All right, cool. Mr. Sandoval,
Yes, sir.
everybody. A little bit different than in your little, I like to call it a clubhouse.
Yeah, that's what we call it, man. And you know,
It reminds me of like when you go play golf and there's like the lady sitting there that gives you
that's right.
your card and
That's
keys to the golf
that's
cart.
the feel with my metal picnic table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how's it going, man? How has it been since? I mean, we did the podcast going on 2 years ago now.
God,
that
man,
long.
time flies, right?
Yeah, July it'll be 2 years.
Yeah, it's going good, man. I mean, I just recently came off of a shoulder injury, so I just had rotator cuff surgery, which is, you know, a ridiculously long recovery.
Yeah.
And it's kept my riding to a minimum. But I'm back, man. I'm ready. This year I'm going to kick some ass. I think I'm going to do like, are we? Can I say ass on your podcast?
I say way bad, worse.
All right, just making sure, man. So yeah, I'm back, man. The 19th, I get back on the road. I start out with a 3-week run all across New Mexico, stopping at Thunderbird Harley Davidson for a charity event there, and then all around, Tombstone. And you were there recently, weren't you?
But not to cut you off, but this place, Bisbee, Arizona. You ever been there?
Just outside of Tombstone.
I've been hearing so much badass shit. I've been to Tombstone before, but Bisbee, I don't know. I think I heard about it on a podcast or some shit like that. But I've been wanting to go check that out.
Bisbee is cool, man. I mean, if you were in Tombstone, you were like less than an hour away.
I think finding a way to loop in and out without
Backtrack it, man.
Is that what it is?
And I hate backtracking.
That's me too.
Yeah.
I cut myself off of so many experiences and rides and places to visit
I do
because I weigh that backtracking like, okay, well, like the North Rim, Grand Canyon, you done that?
Absolutely.
It's like 50, 60 miles in, and then you got to go back. It's just like, fuck that, man.
It's absurd, dude. I'm horrible. I will backtrack for something like the North Rim, but like I won't turn around for a photo, or I won't turn around for a restroom if I miss the exit. Just that's just.
And still with it.
Yeah, I can't, man.
It's my airbrush compressor.
That's good.
That. One of the things, like, well, we're gonna be all over the place here.
Yeah.
But so since we've been talking, I think I might even mention to you back when we first did the podcast that I've been really wanting to get into YouTube myself. You know what I mean? But that camera time and that comfortability in front of the camera. And I just heard on one of your videos today, like you use the sunglasses. I think that's actually pretty brilliant, because that's my biggest thing when I'm holding that fucking stick out in front of me.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking everywhere but the camera. It freaks me out, man. Yeah,
it's the sunglasses is a tactic, and it's something I get hell for online sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's a double-edged thing for me. One, it is I'm wearing my own signature line of sunglasses, so it's a promotional thing, right? I mean, but even before this, I still did it. It's so that it's to keep you present with the camera. Sometimes I'll have somebody yelling at me over here telling me, don't forget to say this, or don't forget to do this, or hey man, hurry up, we got to go, or so I'm looking at different people sometimes, or you flip the screen up, you're just making sure it's framed, so you're looking up at the screen, and then you just look silly in the lens. You can tell that you're looking over the camera, and so.
Brilliant, man. I'll be honest with you, man. It's Yeah, I get it. You have to get over that fact that some people are like, "Hey, dude, why are you wearing sunglasses inside?" and that bullshit. But the truth is, it's like it's a job, man. It's a business. You got to put content out, which I hear you're doing 5 videos a week. 5
videos a week this year. Yeah, every week for the entire year.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is, man. It's a big chunk to bite off, but. Man, we're putting down so many miles this year, man. We're going to be everywhere. Alaska, I've never ridden Alaska, you know. So I'm excited for the style of content and being able to take time to come out and visit people like you. I got a YouTube video that's going to come out showing all your paintwork and your processes, and that's going to be pretty neat. So just pushing out the content.
Yeah, so that's another thing that I kind of noticed about doing or trying to make my own content was like, have you ever got to a point where you had an idea for something, but maybe felt like your videography skills or whatever just wasn't quite there to capture it the way that you wanted to capture it yet?
All the time. I look at videos I'll tell you all the time, man. And you just gotta get over with it. You know, the sunglasses thing, you know, I'm not an inventor of anything. The sunglasses thing, I stole that idea from Casey Neistat. I learned it from him. I was like, you know, it makes sense. It works for him. Not everybody's doing it. So I just went ahead with it. The content thing, there's a young kid who's got millions and millions of subscribers called Roman Atwood, and he said the best 3 words I can give you advice for YouTube is just keep posting. And so I've kind of lived by that, and I've just, you know, I've tried to keep my content flowing and keep it consistent, and I guess that's a really long way of saying sometimes the videos that I think I didn't do justice on, the people love the most.
Yeah, I get that.
So it shocks me, man. I'll be like, oh man, I didn't get that right. I didn't get this right. It didn't transcend well. And then people are like, oh, I love that video. And I'm like, I
get it though. I mean, there's times whenever, you know, even with podcasts, when I finally get someone on like yourself or anybody, I'm like, man, like, I don't know if I asked the right questions. I don't know if I really captured who this person is and what they. I honestly felt like that after the first podcast, you know. And I felt like when we did that podcast, I don't know if it was because I had all my homies outside ready to go get fucked up at your campground or what the deal was. But it's like you're talking to someone that lived on his bike for what, 18 months was it, or
4 years I lived off my bike. Yeah.
So fuck that one up.
That's all right.
You know, did all these things and traveled and did this and created all these videos, and you've really spearheaded, in my opinion, the Harley Davidson or the V-twin side of YouTubing. You know what I mean? Like, there's tons of dudes out there, obviously, now. Everybody's kind of, you can see the similarities. You see where some people are different and they have their own style. But I've always enjoyed your videos for the fact that you've got your hands and your attention in so many different things that it's made it to where it's a very diverse YouTube channel versus check out my seat review and shit.
Well, I appreciate you saying that because that's one of those things I struggle with. Logan, he's shooting himself here, and my camera guy's getting behind you there in your own shot. No, just letting him know. But so the struggle is, I think. For me is not losing my audience though. True. Right? So every time I touch something new, I'm excited because I'm sharing another aspect of my life, but then I'm nervous because I don't, you don't know how that affects the people. Some people are like, no, I came here to watch motorcycles. And if it ain't motorcycling, I don't want to see it. Well,
so I get your point because, I am a huge photography fan. Like, that's my second favorite thing to do. Fortunately, it's great that it works with motorcycling and traveling because it makes the content that you get out there much better. But I love having, like, I got a videographer coming on tomorrow that actually shoots videos for like HGTV and Monster Energy and does all these live events, and he's like fucking with red cameras and all this crazy shit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so tell me, I just want to learn from this dude. I mean, that's where, but I mean, it's the same thing. Like, I know that my audience is motorcycle related, and painters and things like that. So you just get in those points too where you're kind of like, you want to introduce them to things that you're interested in.
Yeah.
But I guess at the same time, you don't want to do so much of it that you alienate it to where it's like you're on this now, you're not doing what you started doing. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. And it's something I think about daily. Every time I do something off topic, it's something I think about.
But yeah, you should be able to just bring on, if you're into something else, if you're into some, whatever other thing you're into. Like, you've been doing the ATV stuff lately, and you've got the property for it, so it makes sense. So why not why not, dabble in that, bring in that audience, and hopefully you can expose them to the motorcycle culture that you've done as well. And so I get that too when I have different people on and painters or our audience might be like, man, you're kind of going down this rabbit hole here. And I was like, well, I am, but I'm interested in it. And being interested in something means you get pretty good content out of things. Or you get good conversations out of it because the questions to ask.
It's passionate, if nothing else. And I think that's something worth being said is, especially in like the YouTube and from what I get from your podcast, because I'm a listener, I listen. From what I get from it is it's a window inside your life. I mean, not to be corny, but that's what it is. That's what my YouTube channel is. It's a window inside my life. If I'm going through a struggle, I'm sharing it with the people. Yeah. If I'm conquering something, I'm sharing it with the people, and everything in between. So it's kind of that balance of what is too far off topic for my audience, and what is genuine and authentic and sharing my life. So
that's another good point because I want to say. Yeah, dude, right around the time we did, 2018 was like my worst year in like 5 or 6 years. Really bad year. And had a bike stolen, wrecked 2 cars, never wrecked a car in my life, wrecked 2 of them. Just got audited by the IRS. That was always fun. So it was just a plethora of bullshit that kept happening to me. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here trying to be, nice and peppy for the audience and stuff here. And
it's hard to do.
It's weird because you want to show the world that like, that you go through problems and you overcome them, but you don't want to get so sob story and so woe is me kind of bullshit when you're like, people think you're asking for handouts.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
And that's a struggle, and that's something I've always tried to stay true to. I've had a lot of different drama and things happen in my life that I didn't share. I've shared a few, especially when it related to the motorcycle world. I've shared very few and shared very, very few inside onto what they are. Once, maybe 3 times I can think of off the top of my head where I shared like business stuff that was happening with me that was negative. I try to stay away from as much as I can. Sometimes I feel it's just necessary to be real.
Yeah,
but
I agree to that because I can see how sometimes, for me, whenever I have an issue with an individual or a company, I've always felt like I kind of have an unfair advantage to get my message out way further than they can.
Without doubt.
And it kind of makes me, even though I feel in the right for my issue, it kind of makes me feel a little asshole-ish to use it unless it got to that point where I was like, look, dude, you're just a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but okay, so you pick a fight with Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
I mean, and he punches you. Is he an asshole for that? I mean, you picked the fight. Just because he hits harder than you. You know what I mean? So, you got to think about that in all aspects of life. So for me, it's more of the just not wanting to be a crybaby online and trying to share a positive, strong message.
Oh, true. So last year, I remember around February or January, we were talking and you were trying to get was it the 25 greatest rides or best rides in America or what was it?
Man, I was trying, right? So
you went hard at the beginning.
Yeah, dude. Again, it was that injury, dude. Bro. And I just couldn't put down the miles the way I wanted to. And I really thought that would be a good way to do it because I could trailer to the long distance ones and then I could, get out and just share just that ride. Yeah. Where normally my channel's about sharing the adventure to the ride and the ride. But it was too hard, man. It overcame me. I failed.
See, so when you were at Angel's Crest, I rode out there, but by the time I got there, I was so beat that I just sat there in Venice and watched Netflix all day.
Oh, man.
While riding, I was like, you know what? I'm just not into it today. I just don't like riding.
Man. Such a great ride, too.
It was, dude. I saw the video afterwards, and, I guess you guys were hanging out with that. What's that shop down there in downtown L.A.?
Locks,
yeah,
man.
Does that crazy fab work and all
he does super crazy fab work. Yeah. That guy's a genius. He's a mad scientist.
You actually rode through Zion after that, right?
I did.
So I actually, on my big ride to California that we did in June, we rode right by it, didn't stop.
What? Zion is like
trying to get to. We left Vegas, and we were trying to get to Monument Valley before dark, which didn't happen, but we were trying.
Yeah.
But we went up through there. We rode right by Antelope Canyon, another place I wanted to stop. Was it Lake Powell up there?
Lake Powell, yeah, I think that's what it is.
I guess that's the lake that feeds into the Grand Canyon or some shit.
Yeah.
It's Colorado River, I guess.
Colorado River.
But
I pass all kinds of things. I say what, but I've passed Zion a bunch of times across the country and didn't stop. So, You know, it's all about what you make time for. It's hard though. It's hard to make those decisions. You know, people always ask me about road trips. They're like, what's your number one piece of advice on a road trip? And I'm always like, my number one piece of advice, a road trip, plan as little as possible.
It is true.
Because you never know what's going to happen or who you're going to talk to or what scenario you're going to come up to. And you want to be liquid. You want to be able to say, you know what? Oh, I didn't realize I was this close to Zion. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
And as soon as you got that schedule.
Well, that's exactly how I discovered Monument Valley. You know, we had a little bit of a loose couple of days on this big trip to Cali, so I was able to experience that. But yeah, I get it, man. Like, I guess it's hard because a lot of people have to fit in. They're trying to fit in like monumental rides within 2 weeks of each other, or not, I phrase that wrong. They're trying to fit huge rides into a finite amount of time, and sometimes like from here to San Francisco, and you're trying to see everything in between. There's just no way you can do that in 2 weeks,
right?
You know, ride the
exactly
coast,
right,
and then have time to decompress in certain cities from all the mileage a day.
It's tough.
So, when you would usually leave like on a big ride, how many miles would you try to throw down on the first day if you were trying to get somewhere far?
I mean, I'm a man, that's a tough question. So for me, I think if I have a destination and I'm headed to that destination, 800 miles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get it done, get the first 800 miles out of the way. But kind of my sweet spot is at 500 miles. That's 500 mile day is a nice day. It's a good day. I can still stop. I can still enjoy my day. I can stop at a nice restaurant. I can, do whatever I want to do. 500 miles is kind of my sweet spot. But on day one, I'm headed to California, get 800 miles out the first day.
Yeah, get it over with. I mean, think about it. Like, even if you're leaving from Moyers there, if you throw an 800-mile radius around the whole thing, it's kind of a shit show for 800 miles.
Exactly right.
Given the fact that, yes, you do have, Talamina there, you do have Arkansas. That's kind of backyard, right?
Yeah, with the exception of backyard. Like Fayetteville, Arkansas, that section right there, take that quadrant out of it, and it's all just flat, nothing. Just get it over with.
Yeah, dude. So a lot of times when I would go to California or something, we would try to do 1,000 miles, and sometimes we get it knocked out, but we would do that 1,000 or 800 around there. And then the rest of the days, we try to keep them under 400 miles. And we realized that under 400 miles, you're not pressured to go anywhere, just like you said with the 500. So it's a lot easier. 500 miles, you're that way if it's just like you and maybe 2 people. When you got like 8 dudes with you.
Completely different game.
Dude, 400 miles is a whole day.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You got to ask them all if they went to the restroom.
Exactly right.
You go to the restrooms, you go to the restrooms, you go to the restrooms.
Yeah.
So it gets kind of a pain in the ass.
It's completely different when you're traveling with people when you're traveling alone.
Yeah.
My favorite part about traveling alone is the people you meet. You walk into a bar or a restaurant or any type of facility, and when you're by yourself and you're loaded down with gear, people want to talk to you.
Yeah.
When you're with a buddy or 2 or 3 or 4, don't nobody want to talk to you. You know what I mean? Some people will.
You're also a lot more open to interaction.
It goes both ways
because you're alone. So maybe you're not hunting for it, but you're putting off a vibe that you're open for conversation.
I'm down with that. Yep, I agree 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
That's probably the best part about traveling alone.
I've fell in love with it. That trip that I just mentioned to you where I went to LA, that was all alone. And it was a much needed trip, going through some things in life and just needed to kind of be on the open road. But I also, once again, that was the trip that I bought fucking GoPros and all this stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to document this. I'm going to make a video out of it.
A lot of work.
And didn't even get to the point where it was a lot of work. I just kept staying in the moments instead of stopping to video it. And I know I've said it on my podcast before, but like it's hard to to not keep riding down 10 when the sun's going over those mountains and stuff. You know what I mean? It's hard to be like, okay, I got to stop and I got to, what am I going to say? Conjuring up this stuff.
That's kind of what I meant by a lot of work. Like at that point, it stops becoming a motorcycle adventure, starts becoming work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm no longer riding and enjoying my ride on the sunset. Now I'm riding, trying to capture this sunset to share with the world.
So I got a good question. So when you were doing that 4 years on the road, did you start off doing videos or did that become a thing as you were riding?
It became a thing. I left with a GoPro, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't
plan on having like a vlog type thing. Like
I was just kind of documenting and kind of sharing what I get on my YouTube channel. You can go back to like the beginning, and there's some videos on there with just me and my cell phone and like just I'm at this gas station, like just random. There was no structure. There was no mission. It was just
try to show it.
When I could, I'd snap pictures and share little videos. I wanted to keep the footage for myself. myself, but I didn't understand the power of social media at that time.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that a person could make a living in social media. Like it wasn't even a thought.
So I asked that question because I'm thinking about it, like when you do those trips, and especially being on the road for 4 years, like you're going to understand the way of riding bikes, the traveling on them and all this. You kind of figure out how is the best way to document this and show the world this thing versus if you've never done it before and you were doing it as like, well, you know, first time going down 20 or first time doing this.
Yeah.
You find out what moves you, I think, and then it becomes like, okay, how do I capture this and show the world the way I'm seeing it right now? That's where, at least where I'm at. But I feel like you've done that. You've hurdled that and many more that I got coming ahead of me. You know what I mean? So
well, I mean, they're all out there, and I think there's so much room for so much growth out here. I mean, you know, to me, the digital platforms, YouTube, Facebook, these are platforms that take the power out of, I'm going to use probably a bad term here, but take the power out of Hollywood and put it into the actor. So it used to be, if you wanted to, have a show on TV, you'd be down there on that casting couch you got in your lobby, all right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you'd hope that somebody would pick you, and then when they picked you, they'd say, okay, but I don't want you to wear that hat backwards.
Yeah.
I don't want you to wear that shirt. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, you're not you anymore, right? And this social media has put the power back into the artists, or back into the writers, or into the actors, or into the whoever, depending on what your channel's about. It's given us the power back. Now it doesn't matter what some suit sitting up in some office thinks about what I'm going to cover today. I'm going to cover what I want to cover. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm going to cover what I think my audience wants to hear, right? Yeah. I read my comments. I mean, I'm a comment Nazi, dude. I go through every comment and make sure that they're covered and replied to. At least 10 or 15% of them, I get a reply. Like, that's important to me because these people are taking time out of their day, right? So I give them what they want, but I do it my way. I don't do it the way somebody else is telling me. Yeah. It's kind of like reality TV on steroids. That's what I tell people. I think vlogging is, it's reality TV, but reality TV is staged. It's maybe not scripted, right? Like, okay, you're going to talk to so and so about this, but say it in your own words.
Even so, like even the stage part, like you just mentioned, like I guess put it like this: like there's a lot of people that do YouTube videos, clearly, right? But there's so many that what sets a lot of people apart, in my opinion, from the Jump Street is like video quality, sound quality, and like structure, right? And kind of walking around with someone on their phone, just shaking all over the place and echoing and cutting in and out, wind noises. Yeah, that might be you might have the best content in the world, but people are gonna have a hard time getting over that first hurdle, right?
That's for sure.
So the second thing is like kind of like what we did today. It's like you have to kind of pick your angles to shoot things,
of course,
and figure out how to frame it for the audience, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Because if you just walked in and you recorded everything we said down there, it'd be boring. It'd be boring, and it would be a nightmare trying to sift through all the footage.
Oh yeah, on the post end. Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, you got to pick your shots, but they're real. I mean, it's real life. Like, I really came here to visit you, and I filmed it. It's not like it was some big, production who was like, hey, I bring people with to help and things like that. But we try to just keep it organic and real.
So with like, obviously, I feel like we're due in the media world for another motorcycle something. I think they've been trying, but they've been kind of. Discovery's been kind of reignite all these older things that kind of were old and they're not relevant anymore. Like when they redid the biker build off a couple years ago, and now they're, more power to Jesse James down there, but they're doing the Monster Garage thing again. Then American Chopper, that shit's needed to be off the air for a long time. But I feel like, what if somebody really did come around with the money to back it? Like, would that ever entice you? Because I say no, but then I also be like, man, like, look at the positives. Maybe you can get your message out there to so much more people with their shit if they can stay within the.
Yeah, of course. If somebody came around with the money and wanted to produce something really good, and they would, and their goal was to keep it real and keep it organic and keep it, whatever, but just be able to fund it to where we could get better shots and where we could be more places and we could travel faster. And I would be for that, but it'd have to be right. They talked about doing a movie about my. I've met with several producers about doing a movie about my trip to every Harley Davidson dealership. Right, 88,000 miles, one road trip. I went through some hellacious things there. I was flat broke. It was brutal, man, but I had a mission and it was dear to my heart. But they always want to change shit, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they always want to make it theirs, and it wasn't, man. That was what mattered to me in that moment isn't what's going to translate best on TV, but that's what mattered to me, and that's what people need to know, because it'll connect with somebody. Yeah. Maybe it won't connect with the masses, but somebody out there is like, dude, I'm struggling with that same thing right now. And
I think that's what really happens when you get like a lot of money involved, is they're trying to figure out how to make it. They're trying to figure out how to get the people that don't give a shit about motorcycling to watch it versus creating content for the people in it. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think that is a big problem with the motorcycle culture growth right now in itself. They're so worried about attacking the new audience that they're not just showing what's rad about the existing audience. And if they just show what's rad about the existing riders, the new audience would come.
Good point, because more power to them, but it always seems like Harley comes around and gives bikes to the people that may not deserve it as much. Yeah, I just heard they just unloaded a bunch of bikes to stunt riders, which more power to them. And I don't want to sound like I'm hating on the guys, but you got people out here that have, like yourself and, my small amount that I've been doing, that have been trying to really inspire people to ride, get out, do more, go further, adopt this as a way of life, just being a real biker. And, yet I can do a wheelie, so here's a new Harley.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said for the guys that can do, I think they're kind of a midway point. Listen, man, I know some stunt riders that are super legit, cool dudes.
That dude that just left earlier is fucking raw.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I got a good friend, King Tony. He's super legit from the Busted Knuckles stunt tour. Those guys put in work, and they entertain a lot of crowds at the rallies. But like the actors and the people that have nothing to do with motorcycles, and they're like, well, we're going to give this guy a bike because, he's got 10 million people following him, and if they think he rides, they're going to want to ride. But okay, so now 10 million people see this guy get a bike, and then they'd see that he never rides it. How's that selling you bikes? If anything, it just says, no, he's not really interested in bikes either.
It's actually reversed.
You're actually hurting yourself, right?
Exactly.
And when you could give it to people that are actually going to go out there and inspire and share what motorcycling is all about. I was lucky. I did some stuff with Harley Davidson that was really powerful, and they did give me some bikes, and I gave them away to veterans, and it was really impactful. But that was kind of one of my arguments with them. I said, listen, man, how many people walk into your dealership every day and want to buy a bike dreaming about taking that epic road trip? Pretty large percentage, I would think. I said, why not give it to him, man? Why not show it to him? Like, let's show more of that type of stuff. And then it was right after that, they started that intern program where they got a bunch of interns out of college and put them on bikes and sent them off and tried to make them into social media stars, but it failed miserably. And,
I remember that, and I was shaking my head.
Man. I get what they're trying to do, but
I felt like they made that decision because they wanted all the power.
That's just it.
Yeah, because with you, it's going to come with some type of obligation on them,
without doubt.
And they're going to have to. It's not going to be all their focus groups making decisions. No. You're going to be like, look, no, I'm not doing that. We're doing it this way. Blah blah blah.
But you can't take. The riding community is an interesting group of people, and you got to earn your stripes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've earned your stripes. You've put in the time. You put in the work. Didn't nobody just call you up one day and be like, "Hey, man, we're going to put you on magazines."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had to paint the bikes. You had to make the product. You had to earn your stripes. I think in the motorcycle world, you can't just say, you know what, I'm going to throw $1 million at you and we're going to turn you into a motorcyclist, because the bikers and the motorcycle community see right through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't buy respect in a motorcycle
Especially from
world.
a brand like Harley that's built on legacies and culture and
I'm just
history.
saying, it worked for them once. Why'd they abandon it?
Yeah, and I mean, I know that you've been riding the new Challenger. Most of my audience knows that I'm not a huge fan, but for the sake of
we can talk Challenger, man. I'm down to talking Challenger. I know you're not a huge fan.
But I mean, still, like, for what you're doing and trying to get your message out there, I think it's cool to see that Indian is allowing you and helping you push that further. You know what I mean?
I think Indian is a very intelligent company. I think they've got good guys in place making smart moves, and this year I'm not even really as of now I'm not even doing anything specifically with Indian other than just enjoying a couple of their motorcycles. I don't have any type of deal with them or anything like that going on this year, and that's really what I want to get away from, any brand deals like that, because I just want to get back to riding what I want to ride, doing what I want to do, and sharing it. So, but I do think Indian has a better thumb on the pulse right now than Harley does, and I think that Indian is never going to have the soul that Harley has. They're just trying to put out a better product, right? So now it becomes my legacy versus your performance, and
I agree.
There's two different types of people that ride. Some guys ride because of their soul and because of their history or because of their dad or their uncle or their whoever, and other people ride because they just want the best performing motorcycle. If you ask me, the Challenger is more competition for the Goldwing than it is for the Harley.
True.
In my opinion, I mean, I just think it's closer to that style of bike when it comes to performance. I mean, listen, I don't think anybody out there is going to argue a Goldwing is going to outperform a Harley 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is. I mean, you can build a Harley, of course, but I'm just saying factory bike to factory bike.
Yeah.
The Goldwing is a smoother riding, better bounce, better suspension, better brakes, better.
Yeah. And it's got AC.
And a moonroof. But and it's got enough lights to take you to outer space. But the truth is I think when I ride the Indian Challenger, it feels more like a metric bike than my Harley.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that a lot of people are, myself included. Like I've ridden the bike. You can't deny the power. You can't deny all the things they put into it, but it just doesn't feel. I mean, for lack of a better term, it doesn't feel like it's about to break. But that's kind of the fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about a Harley that like, and I guess that's why I like guys like me who's so brand loyal.
Sure.
That like it's stressful, but like in the back of our head, we're all thinking like, you know what, soon Harley's going to come out with the inverted front end. Well, they have been on the soft tails, but we're hoping that the Indian has put pressure on Harley to do a little bit more with their bikes. I mean, I think that like the infotainment center on the Indian is probably the main thing I'm impressed with the weather and just all that, rideability, or that I don't know the right word is, just all that at your fingertips. Like you could see that the weather. I mean, it's not enough to make me want to buy one, but I do appreciate it, and I hope that it could be a firmware update for a Harley, infotainment center or something like that. But bigger brakes, I get it, man.
You can't deny bigger brakes.
It's actually, Homeboy just stepped down from Harley, so I wonder how that's going to impact.
Matt Levatich.
You knew that dude, didn't you?
I know Matt Levatich well. I've messaged him a couple times and been like, dude, what is going on? He stepped down. I don't know. I have mixed emotions about it. I've had lunch with Matt Levatich, and I think he's a brilliant man. I think he really had some great ideas. I think where they didn't come to fruition for him is he had a hard time controlling his team. So they said, what do they call that? What do you call that when like a lot of like immigrants will like, a lot of times, this is just a place I only seen it, but they'll like strap a bunch of flotational devices together and it becomes this big like floating barge, but they're all different things all tied together and they're floating in the ocean. So
kind of like a party cove.
Yeah, right.
A bunch of boats and everybody can just walk around and get beer.
Right. So kind of like that, but like one that's like has no motor and is like floating in the ocean and they're paddling and they're trying to come across the ocean. And I said to him, you got a big ship to turn. And I'm going to say like a flotilla, but that's not the word, whatever it's called.
It'll work for me.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, he's like, no, I don't have to turn a ship. He's like, I got to turn a flotilla because each dealership is its own entity.
Yeah.
Right.
Franchise.
So you can't, you can control some things, but you can't control everything. So for him, it wasn't about turning a ship. It was about turning all these individual flotating devices all to go one direction at one time. Mm-hmm. And that really resonated with me. I was like, all right, dude, I get it. That's tough. And then, and then his team on a corporate level, I talked to him about a few things, and I'm like, man, I don't think you guys should do this, or we should do this. And, your team's not being responsive. And he'd just be like, well, man, I got to let my team make their decisions.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes as a leader, you got to tell your team, hey, listen, we really need to do this. Or, hey, we really need to take this turn. You know what I mean? And I know you guys don't agree with it, but we need to do it.
It seems
but
like,
what do I know?
It seems like you took over Harley like at a time when, like people were waiting on a list for a bike.
It's true.
It was a much more complicated and much more elusive kind of thing to get a Harley. I mean, when I got my first Harley in 2000, I bought my first finance one in 2012, but I think my first Harley was like 2010 Sporty.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that's still, in 2009 and 10, it still had the idea like, man, I don't know if I can afford a Harley, even a Sportster.
Mm-hmm.
I was riding sport bikes at the time as well. So, but at that point in time, like Harley had already pumped out so many bikes over the last 5 years or so that the market was already flooded with their bikes, which created a huge used bike sale, like, used bike dealership across America where people can, instead of buying a brand new bike, they can go buy a used one that's the same thing as the new one, just a different color.
No doubt. I like to say, I think that, I think where it really took a turn is when it stopped becoming about the rider and it started becoming about the transaction of the sale of the motorcycle.
Yeah.
A lot of these car lot guys started getting in the business, buying up Harley dealerships, just kind of changed the whole feel of what it was. You know what I mean?
I 100% agree.
They just got away from.
Dude, dealerships, I mean, here in Dallas, Longhorn used to be like the biggest, baddest place to buy a bike from. There was parties every weekend. It was like the dealership in Texas forever. And then, like you said, the car dealership mentality came in, and they're like, hey, man, let's stop creating experience for these people, and let's sell them fucking bikes and give them a free cheap-ass Lone Star or some shit while they're at it. You know? Instead of creating this vibe, like when do you go to a Honda not a Honda, that's probably a bad one, but like a car dealership of any kind, and you walk in and there's just everybody that's bought their cars are sitting out in the parking lot looking at a bikini contest and they're having a car show, and they're just having a good time because there's so much, you're buying into so much more than just this thing to
culture.
You know what I mean?
It's a culture. Absolutely.
So, then Longhorn stopped doing it for years, and now they're trying to pick back up. And it seems like all the dealerships that are putting out, it costs money to create that kind of thing.
Without doubt.
But you have to invest in the future.
I agree. And I think if you can invest in that future wisely and show the fun, right now you live in a time where it's easier than ever to show people what you're doing and to show people your fun with the internet, right? So if you invest wisely, you have a platform that they didn't have in the 70s.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? They had to build this culture, one guy at a time influencing his family and immediate circle.
Grassroots, basically.
Yeah. And now you've got this platform that you can share the stuff on. Granted, now there's more competition because more people can do it, right? But I think the culture, man. I think if any motorcycle brand, Harley or any other one, can just focus on showing and sharing the people that are living it and the fun, it will create new riders. And
it'll create more brand loyal people.
Without doubt.
That have that voice, that have earned that voice, like you said earlier.
I think they should just fire everybody up there and hire you and me. We go in there, we turn this thing around.
First week. I'll bring the FXR back with the M8 in it.
Oh man, yeah, it's easy to sit here and talk.
That is the thing, man. It is hard to sit here and understand because at the same time, everybody hated the Softail when it came out. It was like, oh, fuck this bike. But then everybody's riding them and they're fucking awesome, man. They're great bikes.
Yeah.
I know that she rides the Road King now, and I know you still have your Road Glide. They're pretty badass bikes still. They just don't have those little trinkets that put it over the edge like the Challenger has.
They're good bikes. There's definitely a difference though. I mean, the difference in riding between the new Softail and the old Softail is the difference in riding between my Road Glide and my Indian.
Oh, that's sad.
It's true though. It's just superior.
Yeah.
It's better balanced. It's better suspension. It's the ride is better. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. But it don't have the soul. It don't have the same soul. So.
Yeah, and that's going to be the hard thing. It's like they need to build like. I don't know if you can get the soul in this time frame. I don't know if we have the.
I don't know either.
I mean, that's kind of. I mean, you know, kind of wrapping it into like the camp out thing. We didn't know what to do or how to expect. And I mean, me and you've talked plenty of times, and we've mentioned, or you've mentioned, like turning it into this. I know you've always wanted to do the Cave River Get Down, which I totally think you should.
Yeah, man.
You know, but
I like your event, man.
Well, do you know
It's real.
One of the biggest reasons why I do it that way is because I don't want to work it.
And that's a good reason.
I want people to show up and then I'm already drunk with my shirt off, like, woo.
I love that about you, though. That's good, man. I mean, there's an opportunity. You could work it.
Yeah.
You could work it, and you could turn it into something that's profitable for you. But for you, it's just more about having a good time. And I think that's your crew, too. And that probably is full circle back to us talking about the culture.
Yeah.
That's exactly what more people need to do, is do exactly what you're doing.
Well, and not only to mention, it's like with you creating that place there, it's given people a place to go to in America, right? Not a lot. I mean, I say that I don't know of a lot of motorcycle only campgrounds that aren't inside Sturgis or maybe Daytona for a couple weeks at a time. You know, where at any point in America, and you're in the middle of it, so you're like the crossroads for people that want to go east to west, experience some riding in tucked in away in an area that nobody would even notice on a map. You know what I mean? But that is the big thing about the camp out, man, is like I want to try to get people inspired to just get out and ride and go make fucking friends.
That's cool.
That's it.
That's cool, man. That's so cool.
That's all it needs to be. And then keeping it cheap as possible, because I'm trying to eliminate every reason that you tell yourself you can't get on your bike and go do this. Where else are you gonna go stay for 4 days for like $60?
Yeah.
In like a place to sleep
and have a good time
on a motorcycle. You can pretty much from all four corners of this place, you can get there and back for probably $300 to $400 in gas,
or way less, depending on where you're at. Yeah. I mean, that realistically, it is very inexpensive to travel by motorcycle as long as you're willing to just experience it, you know, and not high end it. Yeah, I love what you're doing there, man. I think that your camp out there, like I said, I think that is exactly what this culture needs, and I think you're nailing it organically. And congratulations, man.
Hey, thank you for it, man. It was inspired by Miss Giselle telling me to come out there and see you, dude.
What a rad woman.
Yeah, she's getting married now, I guess.
I know, man. I'm so happy for her.
Oh, I was gonna say I was sad for her.
Oh,
she ain't gonna be able to ride anymore.
Nah, she'll still ride, dude. I don't think anybody can hold that girl down.
I know, right?
She's a strong woman.
So another great accomplishment since we last talked was you finally got the parade done.
Oh my God, man! Yes, thank the Lord. I tell you,
how did you stay motivated after the first time it didn't happen?
I just couldn't quit, dude. I just couldn't quit. I just knew it was doable. I just couldn't comprehend Greece holding the world record for the largest parade of Harley Davidsons. Like, how can America not pull together more Harleys than Greece? And so I just kept begging. I went online and just begged. I literally said, please, let's break this thing.
Yeah.
And we came together. We did it. We did it in big fashion.
Yeah. Y'all didn't just beat the record. It was quite a bit above it, wasn't it?
Yeah. So like 1,000 bikes more, and it's like a 30%. We beat it by like 30%.
That's good.
Yeah.
How complicated was it to do it? Like, what was
Incredible.
I've heard some of your YouTube videos where you're talking about it, but the complications of dealing with the Guinness Book of World Records in doing it. What was that?
The Guinness Book World Records is hard to deal with, period.
Yeah.
I mean, they own the market and they know it. And they're difficult to deal with. You play by their rules or you don't play.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's the logistics of the city. I mean, you have that many bikes and that much going on. There's just a lot of logistics involved in that. Paris Harley Davidson did a wonderful job. I basically tried 4 times with 2 different dealerships. So I tried twice in Florida, and then I tried twice in Paris, Texas, and Paris Harley Davidson did a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, my hat's off to that team. They worked really, really hard. And of course, anytime you're doing something that big, there's always things that slip through the crack, and there's always things you could make better. And nobody's perfect. Nobody's pretending to be perfect. But they brought enough to the table to get it done. And, from a logistics standpoint, they made a huge impact on that. So I got to give them mad props. And then, just the people. I mean, it was hot. You know, yeah, man. No shade out there on that airport. It was brutal, man.
And so basically, it had to stay a continuous line, and every bike had to cross a start line and a finish line.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And so, one of the reasons why I didn't go, and I'm sorry, but just that whole thing just seemed like a nightmare for a guy like me with, you know.
Well, don't apologize to me, man. If you would have came, you'd be part of a world record.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to let you share it on this podcast.
There we go. Yeah, no, it was complicated, but I'm glad we got it. And America came together. And frankly, we had like Germany came and helped us break it. And like
Germany's like, fuck.
Bunch of Canadians. Yeah, man. Bunch of Canadians came down. You can always count on the Canadians.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool, man. And really the parties that went down before and after.
I would have liked to have been at K River that
we
weekend.
were jammed, dude. We were. I should have stopped reservations sooner than I did. I accepted more people than I should have.
Did you have to turn people away, or they just had to roughneck it?
People were roughnecking it, but
That's
it got bad. I mean, we were. I shouldn't say it got bad. We were overwhelmed. We had way more people than we were prepared to handle, power wise, water wise, everything. I mean, we did good. My team, we kept everybody afloat, and my team did wonderful, and people were understanding. But it was thousands of people slammed down in that campground. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
because it felt. Our camp out usually gets around. I think we're hoping for about 150 this year, and that's modest from what I think could be if we have like good weather,
without doubt,
everywhere. But dude, when there's like 50 people all packed in that little inner circle there, it's like, any more than that, it's like kind of like you need an extra couple days to go meet everybody. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So, and then
Absolutely.
you got that huge ass fire pit you built. It's like perfect for
my Game of Thrones fire pit.
So the treehouse, that's done.
Done, man. Rented it. Like you can get in during the week, but on the weekends it's sold out for like ever.
So what's the next building project you got?
I'm in the process of building a disabled veterans cabin that's it has like push button open doors and Hoyers over the beds, and for guys that are truly wheelchair bound. And on the 13th we start our second treehouse. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Are you just gonna put it close to that one, or a little bit further down the deal?
It's going to be more like to the right of where the fire pit is. It should be done by your camp out.
Yeah, I think my buddy Matt actually rented it out for the weekend of the camp out. So
the one I have up now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
The other thing, so how's the river right now? Is it up or is it pretty down?
It's down right now, but it might be back up by then. We'll see.
Yeah, it's fucking about to be April, so
yeah,
messy down there.
Rain, man.
So you're leaving here. Where's the first stop? I know you were talking about, I think I was watching one of the videos today, and you're headed to the Canada border to ride one all the way down?
I am, yeah, the PCH all the way down. So that will be my second trip. My first trip is just Albuquerque, New Mexico,
right.
Thunderbird Harley Davidson, Arizona Bike Week, and then I'll come back. And then I'm back for, I think your camp out. And then the Litas are doing something the following weekend, and then I go.
So that Lita thing, I want to talk about that. So are they? Because I was watching. You had the chick from, was it a quest called Tribe or?
Oh yeah.
So she was saying like this. I thought it was just going to be like Alitas around here doing a camp out, but it sounds like you're turning this into this huge thing for women all across the country to come to, and guys got to have a women's sponsor to get in. A women's sponsor.
I kind of dig that, man.
I thought it was kind of cool too.
I like it, man. Because you know how we are, man. We'll take a good thing and just destroy it, right? So it's not. I'm not hosting it. Okay, I'm just the venue. It's kind of like our deal. You know what I mean? I have the land. I'm saying come do your thing. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing there. So it's the Fort Worth Litas are actually the ones hosting it.
Yeah.
But there's so many Litas chapters all across the country that are coming this thing. It's just crazy.
What I could have been mistaken, but is there like going to be things there for women to learn to do?
Yeah.
What was the kind
of? There's like there's off-road dirt bike classes. They're doing like traveling seminars. They're doing. I think they're going to do some welding classes. I think Motorcycle Missions is coming out there and doing some fabrication type stuff. There's going to be, obviously food trucks and vendors and all that stuff as well. It's going to be bands. It's going to be a big. It's good. I expect it to be a really big bash.
That'd be cool, man.
Mainly women.
Well, it's like I didn't know if they still do that Babes Ride Out thing.
Oh yeah, they do that. It's just bigger and bigger and bigger.
Anything to get those women to ride, man.
Man, I'm all for it.
So
I love the fact that my woman rides. When I met her, she didn't even know what a motorcycle was.
Well, it's kind of good to have you as as a usher into it though, right?
Yeah, well, she ran it by storm. I believe she could have just figured it out on her own. She didn't even need me, man. Yeah, I mean, she's a good rider, man. Just overnight.
So I noticed on some of your older videos, or maybe, but have you've done quite a few things with drones yet?
Yeah.
I saw one where you like thought you lost it, but it went back to home base.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
How is it? Because I bought one. Like, put it like this: my little camera collection over here. This is me not having the balls to do it, so I'm just buying shit. It's like playing golf. That's what I can tell people. Like, I'm not good at golf, so I'm just gonna keep buying new clubs till I feel like I bought my way into the mix.
That's funny. Yeah, that's a good drone. I mean, you got a good drone. It's the drones they change the game.
Yeah,
they just take time.
They take time. So, because it scares me with using it. Like,
oh yeah.
I guess I didn't really have any anxiety with it until I saw you thought you lost yours. Like, fuck, man, that's like $1,700 drone. Like,
dude, I crashed one in the Smoky Mountains, destroyed it. SD card came out of it, lost the footage, didn't even get the footage.
Wow.
Got all the shots. I was done with the shots. I was getting a couple extra shots, and I ran into a telephone wire. And that was it. Done.
That's exactly what it scares me, because I was doing I did like Local Coyote. Have you done that yet? Like Local southwest Coyote? Of here?
I don't think so. Maybe
it's off of you ever heard of what is that place called? Fuck, I'm losing it. But if you take 67, the highway over here, and you go straight south, it's this little. I don't think it's technically a biker bar, but we kind of use it as one, and it's a nice little 100-mile ride outside of Dallas to go check it out. And but it's on the cusp of like the hill country over there, so it's the closest thing for us to jump and start hitting a little level changes and whatnot. But so I went out there with some boys and we took the drone, and I'm like riding. I'm like, this would be a good spot to do it. And then I'm like, well, I can't find a place to pull over.
That's just it, man. You got to pull over.
I kept wanting to do it, but then I kept talking myself out of it. And then I was like, oh, well, there's power lines here, and I'm thinking the drone's like this big, and I'm like, how is it that I'm so scared it's going to hit that wire? But then you said it, so now I have the anxiety again.
I'm sorry, man. It's the truth, though. Dude, it's hard. Dude, that's one of the hardest parts about filming YouTube videos on the road is forcing yourself to stop, get out of the moment, get all the equipment out, get it all set up, get it recording, make sure it's got SD cards and batteries and everything's plugged in, and get the drone in the air, and then fly it where you're going to get, and then get back on your bike and ride past it, and then stop again and fly it back and put it, you know what I mean? For a 2-second shot in a video, it might take you 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that is part of the struggle, but it's the game, man.
That's what separates the people like me who just buy the shit, and then people like you that are doing the shit.
Yeah.
So I actually got a trip. I've never gone Northeast before, so this is my first year. I'm really focusing on the East Coast this year. West Coast is like, visually, just like there's everything out there. There's wide open spaces, cliffs, mountains, beaches, pretty solid weather everywhere you go. And then the Northeast is just kind of gritty, and I wouldn't say grimy, but kind of like the more weathered part of the country.
Without doubt.
And so for that reason is why I want to go there, but I haven't had a chance to. I've just never been. I've never been to New York, in an airplane or anything. So I'm doing like a Laconia run where I'm going to go up there, hit all those northern states, go to Laconia, then ride the western side of all those states back down towards into, the western side of the Smokies, basically, or the Appalachians.
Can I break you for a second?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know this is live, but I think Scooter's got to go outside. Scooter's in here with us today, y'all, and I think he's got to go potty. You don't mind bringing him outside? Sorry, don't mean to hijack your podcast, man, but people know this is real.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what's cool about it, honestly. So Laconia I did last year. The thing I love about Laconia is the best part about the East Coast is the Blue Ridge Parkway, Smoky Mountains. So you can run that almost all the way up there. So that's beautiful. The city, Manhattan, is a shit show. I mean, it just is. It's not a fun place to ride. Staten Island, all that whole area is just, it's not fun to ride. But then once you get north of the city, up by Laconia, out by Syracuse, Maine, I mean, you start getting up in there, man, it becomes gorgeous again.
So actually, I'm riding solo up there, but I'm actually meeting 2 friends in Baltimore, and then one of the friends actually lives in Harlem. And so he's going to ride down, and then we're going to go stay in Harlem where he lives. And we're going to spend like 3 days there just riding the city, because I've never been there, so I want to see it. They were telling me that they have quite a good time doing night riding there.
That's the best time to ride.
So that's obviously why, or that's honestly why I just I was telling you about that lens I just bought, was because I needed I guess it would be a higher aperture. I don't know if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah. Well, the thing about the city and that area and riding at night is there's so much light anyhow.
Oh, okay.
Because there's so many buildings and so much. I mean, it's still
Reflected.
bright.
Yeah.
You know, you need to hook up with a dude out there. Have you ever heard of Moto Wolf?
Mm-mm.
You need to find him.
All right.
I didn't know who he was either, and I went up there, and someone was like, dude, you need to connect with Moto Wolf. And I'm like, who's Moto Wolf? And I looked him up and connected with him, and he, on a drop of a hat, came out and met me, took me down to Times Square. We partied, rode me all over the place. This dude's a real deal rider, man. I mean, I don't know how many countries he's ridden, but a lot. Wow. And he's super cool. He's our age. He's a rad dude, man. So look him up, Moto Wolf.
So, I mean, you just brought up a good thing. Have you thought about going outside the country yet?
Yeah, man. This year, I plan on doing a trip to the very tip of South America.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that. Dude, that's like
5-week run.
That's probably the first major goal for out of the country for me is to do that. Are you planning on going through Mexico and then taking the ferry
all the way
around?
down?
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What side are you going to stay on, the western side of South America down, or what?
You know, I've got it all lined out. I could I'd have to pull up a map to tell you what all cities we're hitting and where we're all going. But yeah, mainly the West Coast. Down primarily, but we do cut across for a couple different things because there's destinations we want to stop at, right? So we cut across it a couple times, but yeah,
that's
it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna do
I've seen a couple different YouTube videos on it, but like it seems like it's always foreigners that do it. You know, people come here and they'll go start in Alaska and then they'll just ride all the way down. So it'd be much more interesting to see someone like you do it because of the relatability that comes with it. You know,
interesting.
What kind of bike are you going to do this with?
I'm not sure yet. We're going to see.
Talking about doing an Africa Twin for a while.
I do like the Africa Twin. I like that bike. I don't have one, so you know, it depends. We'll kind of see. It depends when I get my legs over. I do it on an FTR 1200 in a second. I do it on an Africa Twin in a second. I mean, frankly, I do it on my Road Glide.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I think most of that.
I'll ride my Road Glide on anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. If I'm not mistaken, I think a lot of it is paved down there. There might be a couple of dirt roads, but it ain't like you're going to be.
Well, I think just potholes. The potholes are the big issue. Yeah. Big potholes. So you can't ride at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all going to be day riding.
Probably shouldn't do anyhow. You're not really familiar with.
That's right.
You know.
That's what they say. It's scary.
I got a lot of friends that live in Colombia, man. That people that's actually been on this podcast, and one of them, he has an adventure bike, and he rode it from here to Alaska. It took like 2 months and did all that shit. And he actually he met a wife in Colombia when he was doing some backpacking as a kid.
Nice.
Came back here, and he just recently moved back to Colombia, and he's been there. I think he's one that, whenever I see the demographics on who's listening to the podcast, there's like always, 5 listens out of Colombia. I'm like, it must be him. You know what I mean?
My homie's in Colombia. That's cool.
So, with your YouTube channel, I mean, that's worldwide. I mean, what's your audience like? Do you get people from all over the country, the world listening to it? So, do you get reached out a lot from people in like different places wanting to bring you out and things? And
I do. It's kind of hard to manage that stuff, because you get so much of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it trips me out, man. Like I often think of myself as just strictly an American motorcyclist, and it always trips me out when more and more people in other countries are following. Mm-hmm. And I guess they just like to get a look inside of America and what it's like here. But I was in.
You just recently went somewhere.
I was just recently in Belize, yeah, and even there at customs,
mm-hmm.
Some dude was like, "You're Adam Sandoval, right?" And,
that's just weird.
And I'm over and and I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah." And we went somewhere else. I forget where. Oh, the Dominican. I was in the Dominican not too long ago too, and the same thing happened at the resort we were at. Like
mm-hmm.
dudes came up to me. I'm like, "Oh." So yeah, I mean, we do. That's the crazy thing about the internet, man.
Yeah.
I mean, worldwide, right? I mean, it's just a matter of what people are interested in, and I guess some people are interested in American bikers.
Well, I think a lot of people are a lot of hobbyist cultures, I think, are interested in everything America does, whether it's like the hot rods, the low riders, the motorcycling.
Yeah.
That always seems to be one thing that other countries and cultures seem to want to take from us, because I think that's one of the most positive things that we do create here in America is like hobbyist cultures. Like,
sure.
Maybe because I hate to use this generic term, but we have enough freedom I
Okay.
don't even know if that's the right word. It's like we have it.
I can see where you're going with that. Yeah, I can see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the ability, we have the access, we have the nobody's holding us back. You can do whatever you want to do. You know, so you can create these cultures and these cults and these cliques and these and nobody's stopping it.
And our economy, the way, I mean, not political or anything, but just the way our economy's set up, it gives us the ability to save up and buy a Harley or buy a old hot rod to restore. There's a plethora of old things here to do. There's, you know, like all this information to learn how to do it, like YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just feel like that like maybe we just get to be the front runners of that type of thing because we have the ability to do it all so much as, you know.
Sure.
I mean, I would say that, but like the tuner, like import car culture is definitely stronger in Japan than it is here.
Right.
But, you know, there's some
Relative.
exceptions.
Gas guzzling,
Yeah.
big engines. It's America.
Yeah. Fuck it. That's America.
It's America. Fuck it. We're America. Fuck it.
Yeah, so, oh shit, something happened to the stream. I guess we're back on. Let me make sure we're
The internet, man. Yeah, no worries. It's the name of the game.
yeah, it should be good still.
All right.
But yeah, so I mean, what else do you got planned this year? I mean, I know you've only pretty much mapped up to what, May, into May?
That's all I have released. So I am mapped out to the end of the year. I'm excited about it, man. My big stuff is the South America, Africa. Listen to me. The South America, the Alaska, the Sturgis, Beartooth, Yellowstone.
Doing that this year?
PCH, yeah.
I haven't done Beartooth or Yellowstone yet. So man. My Sturgis trip this year is going to be Sturgis and then out there and loop back around. And I had such a blast last year in Colorado, man. I know you've ridden this, and I just wanted to bring it up to you because I didn't know it existed. But you know, on Interstate 70, when you're rolling down it, you go through Glenwood Springs.
Of course.
It's just how, like, the road, it's like a double-decker highway along the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the river and then the railroad tracks. It felt like I was riding through a puzzle. Like just a
cool.
badass scenery of a puzzle of, like, the Wild West or some shit.
That's cool, man. I've never had that analogy myself, but that's a good one. Yeah.
It's the same thing in my head. Like, I used to do a lot of puzzles when I was a kid. Not to the point where I was some puzzle nerd or anything like that, but, like, just shit to do. And in the 80s and 90s, we didn't have video games as much as we do now, right? But same thing, like I envision places in like Maine and like over on the eastern seaboard that just kind of have that beach town that's kind of tucked away on a hill kind of vibe.
Without doubt, that's exactly right. That's how it is, yeah.
Lighthouses, shit like that. Like that's puzzle culture, dude.
All right. I'll go with it, man.
Yeah. So it just reminded me of that, and I was thinking about, you know, Colorado is just, it's one of those states that has so many nice places to go that's like, I made the mistake last year of making it a pass-through state, you know, and this year I think after we do Yellowstone and we come down on our way back, we're going to zigzag across Colorado and try to get it. I haven't done the $1 Million Highway yet.
Man,
so.
You got so many good rides ahead of you.
Yeah, trying.
They're all good rides.
Trying to get like you, man.
Yeah, no, man, you're just going to.
What's your favorite one, though, if you had to pull it
man,
down?
everybody asks that. That's such a tough question. You know that.
And it could be favorite because of not just the ride itself, but just the vibe that the whole state or scenery or the start and stop. Like, you know, like I would say one of my favorites is probably, I would say probably PCH is one of my favorites.
See,
but I don't like, let me take that back. My favorite is PCH north of San Francisco.
Without doubt.
Yeah.
Amen. I'm all with you there. PCH north of San Francisco.
You still get that vibe, that coastal cliffs, but it's not the most traveled part of PCH. So you're
and
not
the Avenue of the Giants. I mean,
I haven't done it yet.
What?
You were doing it last year on the 25 rides.
Oh man, I'll be there this year. It's man. Oh, I love it. And for me, it's just a kid's thing. When I was a kid, I loved the giant redwoods. I just wanted to see the giant redwoods. So the first time I rode there, I was like, Scooter, look at this. I was so excited, man. It was just me and him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then I would say that probably one of my other second favorite places to be is the Smokies. Like I didn't really care too much for like what is the main one everybody loves out there?
Tail of Dragon.
I dug the motorcycle culture at where the cafe was, and you can go buy you can stock up on your GoPro shit.
Deals Gap.
I dig that. But that ride is not as enjoyable as the roads I took to get to it.
Everybody who is a true motorcyclist says the same thing. I always tell people the Tail of the Dragon has one thing no other road I've ever ridden has: a really fucking good publicist.
Yeah.
You know, it's marketed really well, but the road itself, man.
I mean, it's super technical. There's so many curves, which I know that's the allure of it, but I guess for me on a Harley though, those fucking long sweepers where you can really just dig into the throttle.
Yeah, set your bike and just let it rip.
I mean, that one, you know, I did it on my FXR, so I mean, I was on an agile bike, but still, it was just like, it was like you're doing some cop thing when you're trying to do the cones. Like, this is not cool. Like, I get out of here, I feel like I'm doing push-ups the last 2 hours.
Yeah, man.
You know, and then
That's
of course,
funny.
all the fucking camera guys everywhere.
Yeah.
That makes it really hard because you're like, well, shit, man, I'm going to make this one look good. You know, you come around, you veer out of the lane.
It's dangerous. Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Tail of the Dragon, overrated. Wonderful rides all the way to Moonshiner's Highway. Just good rides all across there, but Tail of the Dragon. I like Smoky Mountains. And there's a lot of really rad motorcycle campgrounds in the Smokies, too.
Is.
Yeah, I've done some really sick camping in the Smokies.
Have you camped in Yellowstone yet?
Yeah.
What's the bears like? Is it an issue?
I didn't have any issue.
I don't know why. I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan. They talk about bears all the time, and I like snacks.
Yeah, well, they have beer boxes, though, man.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, like,
so they have boxes. You put your food in the boxes and you lock it up at night.
All right,
and they provide them. You know, they're bolted to the ground.
Yeah, that just weirds me out. Like thinking, like, fuck, man, what if I have some, you know, some Hostess snacks in here, some powdered donuts.
I love this.
So, quick story about that. Like the first time I did the hot bike tour in 2017. I did it solo, and just to make it affordable for me, instead of trying to get a hotel for 3 nights in, I think it was Johnson City, I decided to go camp out into one of the campgrounds, and about 10 miles outside of the city, right in the mountains, like, you know, because kind of cutting through there. And I started Googling, because I had service there, a rare thing at campsites sometimes. And I'm like, is there bears in the Smokies? And then it said that I think there was black bears there. I think it's a common thing. So I started freaking out, man. I'm like, because there's a Dollar General around the corner. I had stocked up. I had Ruffles. I had like all this bullshit food just stuck in my tent. And I was freaking out about it, man.
Yeah.
Got in my head.
I never had no problems with bears. I had problems with coyotes.
For real?
Oh, yeah.
They come up to your tents or anything, or what?
I was sleeping on a lean-to underneath my bike. Man. Just poncho liner tied off the side of my bike. I
have a zipper, dude. That shit freaks me out.
No,
it's
man.
Like open to the open.
Yeah, I was just laying there, dude, and they came up on me, a whole pack of them. I had to hit one with a stick.
Damn.
Scooter was squealing.
They probably was trying to get him.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it was dinner bell.
So how much do you ever look at like some of those trips, like that 4-year ride, just being out there and roughnecking like that? Do you ever miss any of that shit? Like,
I do. This year I'm getting back to it, man. I'm gonna spend a lot of time sleeping alongside the road this year, and I'm gonna share it all online. Yeah, I do miss it. I mean, there's something to be said for a hot shower, Wi-Fi, a real bed, housekeeping, waking up dry. But man, there's just something about just finding that spot in the middle of the night and making your bed, and then not being able to sleep sometimes, and just drink enough whiskey that you can fall asleep.
Yeah.
You know,
I know that feeling.
Yeah,
I have to get drunk before every big bike trip.
Yeah,
it's the only way I'll fall asleep. That or get super high.
Yeah.
On Oklahoma's medical now. That's a good
Oklahoma
thing.
Is medical.
Progressive.
Yeah, progressive. Yeah, I think they're going to make it legal this year. Texas will be the last state.
Yeah, it sucks. We already got those lawyer signs as soon as you cross the border.
Yeah,
where it's like, hey, you get caught with weed, call me, and shit like that everywhere.
I think Oklahoma has the most registered users of marijuana of any state in America per capita or something like that. Yeah. Some crazy statistic. They did, like, I don't know how many billions of dollars in business in year one. It was stupid. I mean, and good for the state, man. I mean, they're making money and they need it. Oklahoma's a poor state.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about it is that there's actually some really nice land diversity too, because I was up in the Woodward. I went up there to Covington and did some bikes with them in the wintertime, and I was actually pretty, you know when you ride across like Nebraska, right? On one side of Nebraska is kind of cornfields.
Yeah.
And one of my homies in Omaha said it best. He goes, one side of Nebraska is agriculture, and the other side's not agriculture. It's farming and agriculture, basically. That's not the same
I don't think
shit.
that. Yeah, I think that's the same thing. Farming is agriculture. No.
No, basically it's cornfields and cattle. That
Okay.
makes a better thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And so as you go west, as you start getting close to that, like the Black Hills and Sturgis and all
Sure.
that, just the rolling hills and like you got a couple little cliffs and shit. They're not big. It's nothing massive, but it still has this vibe that's like, fuck, man, like riding through this is like it feels great. You know what I mean? I was trying to associate this to like, I feel like so many people get wrapped up into the scenery of a ride, like, oh, it's got to be on the coast or through a mountain or whatever. But man, I was on my way back from Sturgis last year, going through cornfields. I was like, this is different, and it kind of feels cool. The sun was going down.
Yeah,
It was
man,
a good
for
vibe.
sure. The diversity is
Yeah.
is it, man. That's where it's at.
Yeah, and I
You
just, like I said, I think you can find a really badass road everywhere. It just depends on how you're looking at the roads, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, man. It's very insightful.
Yeah.
It's very zen of you.
Dude, when you're out there, man, I figure life out. Dude, I think I've figured out how to be a millionaire 8 times on bike trips, and then just it's like that shit you think about before you fall asleep, you know. And then like you're on a road for 4 or 5 hours at a time or 2 hours at a time. It's like just so much shit goes through your head.
You can figure out a lot of life's problems inside that helmet.
I agree. I mean, I think I figure out a lot of problems and I create a lot of problems too.
Yeah, that can happen as well. There's no doubt.
Well, cool, man. So what's we start wrapping this up in a minute. So what do you
All right.
think is you know, some good things that are about to happen for you? You got to stick to more, like you said before. You're not stuck on any brand this year for any kind of obligation. So
Nope.
you have the Zero electric bike. You haven't given me your thoughts about electric bikes yet. So what are we looking at here?
I think electric bikes are definitely the future. I think there's always going to be something to be said for gasoline. Don't get me wrong. I think that gasoline is, it's kind of like we just said with the Indian Harley thing. You know, gasoline just has a,
yeah.
it's just, I don't know how you put it to words, but there's just something there. But electric, man, I think it's the kids. It's the kids are what's going to make it the future because, they got all these little electric like BMX bikes.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah.
pedaling. They're just getting on them and turning the throttle.
Yeah, and they got
they're
those
not shifting gears.
Those little one-wheel fucking skateboards and shit.
Yeah.
Electric. It
Yeah.
does seem like everybody's going that direction.
Everybody's going that direction as a kid. So I won't get too into specifics, but on the campground, there's a boy who's 8 years old, and he has a like a YZ50, and he has an electric bicycle, basically.
Yeah.
Can't get him on the YZ50. Rides that electric bicycle everywhere. So why would I hold up that heavy bike? Why would I shift gears? Why would I learn a clutch? When all I get on this thing, I can go just as fast, if not faster, and all I got to do is twist that throttle.
How's the dynamic though? Like, I guess I haven't ridden one yet. I'm asking from a complete naive perspective of it. Like say, have you taken it through Talamina yet at all?
I haven't.
So I was just wondering, like on those kind of corners when you're letting on and off the throttle, like what kind of resistance you get.
You get resistance, because it builds. Yeah, you get resistance just the same.
Because like
and
your
braking.
engine braking.
Yeah, there's obviously not as much engine braking, right? You're using more real braking.
Yeah.
But it's the same.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things that I was trying to do, because I haven't ridden the live wire, and I know that everything that happens in the motorcycle world becomes the big thing on YouTube, podcasts, conversation, and I just don't have time. I don't have time to go test out shit like that. I'm like, if one of my buddies comes by one day to the shop and has one of those bikes, I'll take it for a rip, but I'm not going to the dealership.
Well, how about this? When you come to your camp out,
Yeah.
okay, at the Fast Life camp out, when you come, I'll let you ride my Zero.
All right, I'll try it out there.
You take it. It's got like a 200-mile range on it.
That's not bad at all.
No, I mean shit. And on a fast charge, you get like 100 miles an hour charging. So for every hour you let it charge, you get 100 miles. So you go in for dinner, you get another 100 miles by the time you come out.
Is there any kind of crazy charging that's into it, like plugs, or is it more like a 220 kind of?
You can plug it at just any fast rapid charge station or 110 in a house, either one.
Oh, okay.
110 in a house, obviously much slower charge.
Yeah.
But it's
got like a Tesla type style.
Yep. And it's fast. It's light. It's quiet. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Is like I had a guy take me up one time in one of these glider planes. It has no engine, right?
Yeah.
They just hook it to a rope to another plane. They tow you up there. Then they unhook the rope, and you just float in this plane.
Man, you got some nice balls, man.
And
it must be, because there's no fucking way I'd do that.
it was wicked, dude. How do I say no? And so I went, and he took me up there. I just met him in a bar one night. I was on my tour to every Harley dealership. I was probably a year and a half into the road, and I was just at a bar, and and he was talking. He's like, "Man, what you're doing is wild." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, what's on your bucket list?" I was like, "Well, this." He's like, "Well, I'm a pilot." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I got my own glider plane and everything." He's like, "You want to go?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Meet me here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m." I showed up. He took me up, man, and they just tow you way up in the air, and then they just cut the line, dude. And all of a sudden you're like,
see,
and it's just so silent, and it's like, and you just see everything, and it's just like peaceful, and I don't know, it's a different experience is what it is. It's a completely different experience.
I'm completely imagining it like me trying to get a kite off the ground, and it's just the wind just like
yeah, no, it's
just
not like that.
Crazy shit going on.
Well, I mean, it could maybe get like that. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but it wasn't for me.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I really wanted to see how the bikes were going, and I've been a very hard critic on the Indian, and I don't think it's because of the Indian itself. I think it's because of being trolled by friends on the internet.
Yeah,
because they know that I'm pretty brand loyal. Like,
it's cool
when it comes to those things.
That's good.
And it's not. It's nothing I want to do. It's just like I get stuck. Like all these cameras are Canon, and I'm just like, well, I don't even think about other brands because this is Canon and that, or this is Apple, so them and this. You know what I mean? Like I get stuck in that. I'm every consumer in America for the most part. I'm the easiest one to market to, but I don't know, man. Like I do hope that Harley pulls some strings. I put it like this. Hopefully, things just keep progressing on all fronts.
Oh, they will, dude. They're going to come out with a new touring model.
Yeah.
And it's going to be super wicked. I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They were just a little bit behind the game on the touring game, but that's all going. It's all going to change. I mean, it's Harley Davidson, dude. They're not going nowhere. I mean, they're going to keep inventing. They're going to keep pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
I just think they need to get their feet. I think they need to quit hiring, people out of Starbucks. That's what they need to quit doing.
That's the scary thing about anything that's passion driven, and then they have a corporation attached to it.
Yeah.
So they have a board meeting full of people that bought into something that are only there because of the potential profitability of it, not the potential longevity of it.
Yeah, man, I'm with you.
Nobody's sitting in that board meeting and go, you know what, how are we going to make this here in another 100 years?
Yeah.
Like, how can we just flood the market and make as much money as we can and cash the fuck out?
Right.
And that's the scary thing about a lot of industry. I mean that's the scary thing about everything, but like just with bikes, it's like, fuck, man, like they're going to screw themselves, and these people probably don't care as much about the future of a business, so I don't know.
So if I wanted you to paint one of my Indians, would you do it?
I've told people no.
So are you telling me no?
I'll paint your Harley. If I said yes, I would be literally going against everything I stand for.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. Yeah, I had to try. If I don't ask the tough questions.
Well, I think, not even to do with that. Like, as like this podcast, and hopefully one day, like when I think about the video stuff I want to do, I don't care about YouTube money wise, because I feel like if it can just funnel people to listen to the podcast, funnel people to want a helmet paint job, cool. Then that's great. And I feel like it'll just show people, like, put it like this, I feel like I can do better with just having sponsors if I create content versus trying to get YouTube checks and
without
play
doubt
those games of like, can't say fag and things like that. What I mean?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, man. It goes both ways.
Yeah. See, I try to say that word on every podcast just to see how long it'll take before I get cancel cultured.
Yeah, you are you, man. Come on. So you would paint my Harley though.
I'd paint your Harley.
How long does my Harley have to be down?
You don't even want to know.
Is it bad?
Yeah, it's bad. I'm a one-man shop. The guy that was here earlier, he's kind of apprenticing, and I'm showing him some stuff, and he's helping me do things that I don't have time to do, like sanding, right? Okay. So for me, like, I try to do all motorcycle paint between October to April.
Oh, Jesus.
And then, so that's the only time of the year. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't take bikes after that, but I try to only schedule bikes that time of year because I'm least traveling at that time of year. So come May, June, July, August, September. I mean, all the main events throughout America.
I got you.
Time.
Yeah,
So
I get it.
If I'm constantly on the road going to this event, doing that,
Where you painting bikes?
and then if I'm doing your helmet in that time, you're not stressing out that I've had your helmet for a month. If I've had your bike for a month and it's
Yeah.
riding season for you,
Yeah.
especially if you're up north or something like, you're gonna hate me.
Yeah.
So I try to stick to the bikes in the colder months and stick to the helmets in the summer.
We learn our trades and what
Yeah.
keeps our customers happy.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And as a rider,
well, I'm going to have you paint one of my helmets because I just can't get over these helmets back here.
Yeah.
I mean, these are wicked cool. I mean, I don't know. Do you show your audience? Can I show them one of them? Can I show them my favorite one?
Yeah.
Look at this one. If I had to wear a helmet right now, that was painted by you, it'd be this dude right here. Look at him. That is awesome, man. I got to get you to do a helmet. I've never had a custom painted helmet.
Well, what we've been trying to do with the concept of it, because motorcycle helmets have never really, I don't want to say never. It seems like people that are in any type of competition when it comes to motorcycling, they have a value in their helmets because they have a win or an accomplishment attached to the helmet.
Sure.
So if you're a dirt bike rider and you won, or you did your first backflip, or you did this, and that helmet, that's going on a wall and it's going to mean something to you. So like I was saying, and when we were doing your little interview thing, was I am trying to get people to value their helmets as much as they value their bikes when they buy them.
That's cool.
And helmets need to be replaced. They're not something you want to like rock the same helmet for years and years and years. And
It's not safe to do that.
yeah, and I mean, like, what is it to take a helmet that you put some money? Trust me, our paint jobs are not cheap on them, but I want them to be personalized to you. But I also want you to know that, like, I only offer one style. I only offer the Jace experience. Fortunately, I have enough people wanting that if you want a badass helmet, but it doesn't fit my look, then there's so many badass painters out there. And I'm good friends with a lot of them, and I'd love to turn people on to
That's
people
cool. Good for you.
that are going to best fit the look that you're looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But realistically, my main goal is to get people stoked about wanting a helmet that they've invested money in on a personal level. Because what happens with a lot of people on a bike when they build a bike? Oh, man, I got to keep in mind I want to sell this later on, so I can't really make it mine. Well, with the helmets, like, don't buy them and customize them with the intent of selling, because who the fuck wants to wear your sweaty ass helmet?
Right.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Who buys used helmets, man? Get a life, dude.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what
that's
I mean?
bad advice.
So-
If anybody tells you to buy a used helmet,
Yeah.
unfriend
I got
them.
2 used helmets coming for sale tomorrow, so let me know. But no,
Unless you're doing it for art.
yeah. But so that's what I'm
Like,
thinking.
I would take that helmet and hang it on my wall.
Yeah. And you know what? Fortunately, a lot of our customers, I really don't know what they do with the helmets, but, I've only heard of, probably of the 40 or 50 we've done, I've only known of 2 people that sell them, which I'm not going to lie, kind of bothered me, because when I made those helmets and I did them for them. You know what I mean? And I was trying to figure out a way, and this is another one of my YouTube videos I want to try to figure out, is I was trying to figure a way how to capture the real experience for of what I'm going through while I'm trying to design and do a helmet for somebody with them in mind. You know what I mean? But using my style of art, but using their inspiration.
Sure.
That it's a really hard thing to try to capture, but that's kind of what I want to try to do. I want to try to show people that part of my life, or my connections, showing them you from my seat. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
man. Without doubt. That's cool.
So, but yeah, the helmet thing, I've been wanting to try to teach people or inspire people to have more value in them.
That's
You know what
cool.
I mean? And ride with them.
My helmets, I got in my living room, I got probably 20 helmets on display like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love them.
I mean,
They're
think
art.
about it. We're Harley guys, right? And you've been around a much more hell yeah brother crowd, right?
Yeah.
So those dudes hate helmets, or a lot of those guys do, and I'm
Yeah.
extremely marginalizing here. But just you get around certain guys that they do want to be on a Harley because they don't have to wear a helmet and they want to feel that openness. And freedom.
Yeah, I just can't get down with that.
I can't either, man.
Yeah.
I was that guy. Those big wheels. I had a bandana. I looked like 50 Cent, man, riding around the bikes. But once the performance thing came around, we started riding a little bit more aggressively. And always when you travel on a bike, you go through helmet states. You got the wind beating your face up all day.
Man.
It's hard to make it anywhere.
Dude, I had a guy write on my post the other day. He said he hasn't ridden all the miles he says he run. Look at his face. I said, well, I wore a helmet, dipshit. I'm full face helmet, man. I'm
Leathered up dude.
yeah, what the hell? I mean, so I get it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have a helmet painted by you this year. That's on my list.
And that's one of the things for me too. Is like, and it kind of sucks for certain people, but as our helmets become more known and we get more sought out customers, like someone like yourself, for me, it's like, fuck yeah, I would love to have Adam Sandoval have a helmet of mine. So it's really where I'm getting to with our helmets is trying to find a way to make them affordable for people that really can't spend the kind of money that they cost, but also like have one of our helmets on guys like it yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you can't make them too affordable, man. They're too beautiful.
Oh yeah, trust me.
Not everybody should get one.
Yeah, true.
You got to earn that shit.
Yeah, we're in the work. We got some things in the works where we're gonna like do a couple series of helmets where it's like a 1 of 10 type thing.
There you go.
So
see, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So you'll be
what
able
they call them, like lithographs in.
No,
in
they'll
the
all
art.
be hand painted.
But I mean, okay, so it wouldn't
so
be like
they'll all be hand painted, but there'll be 10
of the same
helmet.
So
the only thing you'll have to buy them like so.
So it makes it easier for you because you can do all 10 at once, right?
I'll do one to sell to show. Hey, look, we're doing this helmet. This helmet's for sale. It's this size. We have 9 spots. Fill up the other 9 spots. What size helmet are you?
And then you'll paint them.
And then we're getting these like they're like stainless steel badges, right? So they'll I don't have. I mean, can you see the Ghost Bandit on the end there? So it'll be this helmet here, this Ghost Bandit, but right back here we're getting a stainless steel plate that's gonna be made, and it'll be like pop riveted in.
Too cool.
And it'll be like engraved. It'll have like our FL logo, and it'll say 1 of 10.
That's cool.
And then, so we're trying to find ways to make these helmets way more of a, I hate to say this, but like a prized possession type thing.
Don't be hate to say that.
You
That's
know?
brilliant.
I don't really know the right way to
That's
way to say
a perfect way to say it.
it. So finding other ways to take this helmet and customize it, and that's the other thing.
What's a helmet like that cost to get painted?
They're like right now with the airbrush on them, they're ranging between $15,000 and $2,000 in the paint work, and then of course the helmet's on top of it. So,
But look at it.
well, I mean,
That's cool.
when I first did this one, I think I was like begging for $500 to get a paint job on a helmet. Now,
Good, man. That's the way it's supposed to be, man.
It's growth, yeah.
The American dream.
yeah,
Amen.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, Adam, tell everybody where to find you, man.
Yeah, well, you can find me. My favorite place to be found is on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's Adam Sandoval on YouTube. But if you want to find links to all my stuff, just go to my website. It's Adam Sandoval Rides.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for everything you do for the veterans, for
Yes.
the riders, for the guys like me. So,
I just love it, man. I love it. This is going to be my biggest year. 2020, my biggest year, man. We'll see.
all right.
All right, take care,
buddy.
brother. Good work, man.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a great time talking with Adam. If you like all the stuff he's doing, go follow him, check out all his stuff, and support dudes doing rad shit. I also want to plug a little things right here. You know, if you guys like this podcast and you want to help support it, please head on over to our website, fastlifegarage.com, where you can also see this live video of us doing this podcast. If you're listening to this audio version, which yes you are, because that's the only way you can hear this outro, then yeah, if you want to see the video, they're always on our website. We've been struggling with YouTube and Facebook. Not Facebook, we've been struggling with YouTube and their servers connecting to our computer. I don't know, nerd shit, don't know it, trying to figure it out. In the time being, everything's been going to Facebook, which has been being transferred to our website, fastlifegarage.com. If you like all this stuff, head on over to our page. On the front page, there's a Patreon. You can support that. And the other best way to do the supporting of this podcast is to rate, share it, like it, tell everybody about it, and to check out our sponsors. These guys do some rad shit, keeping this podcast growing, which if you haven't noticed, we have grown so much this year in 2020. Right now, I've got 3 podcasts recorded, ready to release, and I still have more stuff scheduled this month. So this might be a 10 podcast month, and I didn't even leave, you know. So it's growing and it's happening because of your guys' support through Patreon, through sharing it, through telling people about it, and through supporting our sponsors and keeping those guys wanting to stay doing business with us. So thank you. Check them out real quick. SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com, TeamDreamRides.com, BigBearPerformance.com, PaintHuffer.com, FastLife13, 10% off checkout. ShopTmax.com, Lexan-Moto.com, FastLife at checkout for 15% off, and BoostedBrad.com, FastLife at checkout, 5% off. Go support these people, man. They're doing rad shit. And you guys, man, thank you. We'll be back again on Friday with another podcast. So have a good week. We'll see you on Friday. Peace.